27 minutes to 8 a.m. You are still watching Morning at NTV, and we're going to be getting into a conversation about financial technology, what you might have heard of as fintech for many of you. You've had it in passing, but when COVID-19 came around, one of the things is you have heard of things like going cashless and embracing technology and all the digital things that can be done. Now, over the years, the number of women taking on key roles in financial technology has tremendously risen. Women are supporting companies, business owners, consumers with technological products and services in the financial industry. But gender equality has also had its play there and has been looked at as a challenge in that area on a global perspective. Among the reasons cited is underrepresentation as women in fintech and having more male-founded businesses. But something is about to change, and something is in the changing, if we can use that term. Well, joining me this morning is Innocent Kawoya from Digital Impact Awards. Welcome to Morning at NTV.
Thank you, Rita. Good morning, everyone.
We're now going to be taking the conversation to the position of women in fintech.
Yeah, sure.
For some women, it's quite far removed.
Well,
for some, it's not. Where do women stand?
Well, the same way we say good morning, women and technology should be a good morning call to every woman. I'm thankful to God that COVID has, for many reasons, steered the adoption of digital financial services. Of course, one of the things you just talked about is running into a cashless economy. And the big question for a lot of time during this COVID season has been, is the world going to turn cashless already? But of course, we're still more of a cash economy. We are working so much towards extending into what we call a cash-light economy. And then later we achieve what we call a cashless economy.
What's a cash-light economy?
Cash-light economy is one that balances between having the cash notes and using secure digital financial services. I'll say for the fact that from High People perspective, High People is keen to promote secure digital financial services because of their vital role in promoting financial inclusion. And for many reasons, over time, we've been able to prove to ourselves and so many other people in the world that actually digital financial services not only help economies to become better into managing finance, but they also help in creating employment. They help in helping people understand how to save, how to get loans and all that. Over the last 4 months, we carried out global polls. We are part of a community that is organized under Level 1 project. That is called the Mojalo community. And on it, there are more than 570 global leaders in finance. Most of them come from a financial technology point of view. And in April, we did run a poll about prioritizing women in developing solutions for women. And in
the financial
technology sector.
And what did the results
the results were 83% of the people, of which about 85% of them were men that responded to the poll, said that actually they think it is better women develop for themselves. Yeah.
And what did the women have to say? Because this is the men. What did the women have to say about that?
And then the women, more than 90% of the women were saying, yes, we should be developing for ourselves because we understand our problems better.
And that was April.
Yeah, that was in April. Then later, we did the same survey, which did upgrade to 87%. And then in July, we did a survey about women and loans, loan products, borrowing money, and about who pays better. Is it the men? Is it the women? And now that was very fascinating.
I was just about to ask, can we know who pays better before we go back into fintech? Is it the women?
Exactly, the women. And they came with a 92% of people saying, okay, if a woman is given a loan, then they pay better. So today, in a time when we have mobile lending products of banks, of mobile financial services, things like Wewole, things like Mocash, and all the other products that are available in the world. I mean, it is time for us to make sure women come at the center of innovation. They develop solutions that best think and serve women, because as we all know and believe is that when a woman is empowered, especially with finance, you are fully empowering a family. Yeah. Children would never lack food, there will never be things like lack of yak and all that kind of stuff. And I mean,
Just-
so it's, yeah.
Just to
sure.
take you back to something that you mentioned, innovation. You say from the poll, it showed that women were in Apple. They were willing to be a part of fintech.
Yeah, exactly.
What about the innovation part of it? Because as any human being, we might have the desire, the urge, be it male or female, but it goes back to who actually goes ahead to execute. So this is August. We're just about to wind up August. Has there been anything in terms of they're moving forward, or are there any challenges when it moves?
Exactly. There is a lot of progress. When we were running the 40 Days for the Fintechs initiative, one initiative that is so unique and made us learn a lot of things about how things are done in the world, especially in a tech point of view. We had one fintech running every day for 40 days. And part of the findings, we found that these fintechs are employing at least 42% women. And these are out of 1,644 people that are employed in 41 fintechs. Yeah,
over 1,642 women.
It's 42% women. And we were very lucky that there was one fintech that was actually fully run by women. 100%, the entire team is women. And of course, most of these women were not developers. About out of these 44%, about only 30% were developers, programmers, and architects. And why we come now to this kind of step and say we want to do a niche-centric tech innovation initiative like Women in FinTech Hackathon and Summit is because we want to make sure we play a role in scaling women's adoption into innovation. Of course, I'll tell you for the fact that most of the biggest innovations in the mobile money space have been by women. For instance, the story of M-Pesa and mobile money that started in Kenya cannot do without a woman like Susie Loni that was at the center of innovation for it. Even in Uganda here, we have a number of women that are playing a very significant role in making sure that innovation is part of their daily life, and they make sure they think very differently and positively. And to add more, like the surveys and the polls I've mentioned about, the women always come in with another thought that any man doesn't easily come with in innovation.
What are some of the thoughts they come with?
Well, the thoughts they come with are usually more humanitarian. They are more understanding and more related to the day-to-day problems that people face. I mean, there is no way technology will make sense to humanity when we don't understand the challenges of humanity. So if I don't know Rita's problems, how am I going to be able to solve anything that she has in her line? In the end, we are supposed to be managing technology and thinking humanly so that when technology happens, it serves the human needs and makes sure it makes a difference. I mean, for high people and all our partners, we always think that as long as technology is not transformative, then it doesn't make sense. Actually, you don't need to call it technology. Maybe it is a very early stage of disruption that needs to be thought back and make sure it fits with the technological needs of the people and the communities. But in the end, we want to make sure that we have clear facts about a difference and positive transformation that these technologies and innovations are causing to the world.
Okay, now let's take a look at the challenges, because when you mentioned that over 1,000 companies that you were working with during the 40 days.
Not 1,000.
Over 1,000.
No.
How many were there?
The fintechs in the 40 days for the fintechs were 41.
41.
But we have 67 fintechs in Uganda as we speak today. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned of all of those. So how many, the percentage of the women in those that are in those positions, what percentage is it at?
The leaders, or
even if it's just a woman working
no,
there?
we like I mentioned, we had 41 fintechs.
Yes.
They're employing 1,644 people, and 42% of them are women.
Okay, so from over those 1,000, only 42 are women.
No, it's a big percentage.
It is, but I'm not saying it's a small one, but we could have more women
you're
there.
Pushing for the women. I mean, those are almost 700 people.
Yes, that's a huge number, but we could have more women there. So what are the challenges that lie there for women who come into the fintech area?
Well, the challenges and the things that we are trying to make sure we fight as high people is women don't yet believe that technology is their place, for example.
Why?
Many of them. I know maybe some bit is inferiority complex, some has been perception, because I'll tell you, as a programmer, all the time, I myself have developed more than 500 websites. For example, I just designed mine on Sunday, my personal website. And I mean, a woman will refuse to design their own website. Yet they have done computer science, they have done IT, software engineering, and I mean they know programming. They can do PHP, they can do HTML, they can be cascading style sheets and all that kind of stuff, and they think someone else should do it for them. And we are saying, no, you know these things. I will tell you, for example, for the record, one of the best programmers I know in Uganda is a woman. And all the time, I always tell her that, look here, I don't know why you keep on doing those petty things in your life. Yet for me, I know I've worked with you and I respect you. I know you know things. Maybe you can do better coding than I can do. But you don't want to get yourself out there and do anything that makes a difference for other women. Actually, yesterday I did call that lady. She's called Kate. So I called her and told her, look here, now we're having women in fintech. And if your team is not a part of it, I'll feel so embarrassed because I know we are keeping some resource somewhere that is able to make a very big difference for women. And all you want to do is to be somewhere working, waiting for a salary, and your potential is never fully utilized. So I mean, there are many women like that. When you go to like Makerere University, I remember when I used to be a tutorial assistant in Makerere 2009 or 2010, majority of the people that were part of the IT classes were women. When you go to the Department of Computer Science and all that, majority of the people in IT and all that are women. And the question is that where do they end up going when they graduate? Do they want to be secretaries? Do they want to go and use their ICT knowledge in sending messages on WhatsApp and all that kind of stuff? Yet they have the knowledge that can be able to transform a lot of lives. So we are saying we're not going to leave the women stay at the back. That's why we have the Women in Fintech Hackathon. Like I mentioned, we had a poll about women leadership for financial technology. And still it was also coming with positives. 84% saying women should lead companies that are supposed to be innovating, not either for men or women. So I mean, we are saying women should come. In Women in Fintech Hackathon, they should do the innovation. So a team must be women-led, for example, the ones that are going to be participating. And then it must have a minimum of 2 women. And better if it has 4 women. And in the end, we are going to have a logical conclusion of the hackathon, Women in Fintech Hackathon, that will be a summit. And the summit is going to be a place for only women to speak about their challenges, to discuss their successes, and be able to celebrate themselves.
Listen, one thing you mentioned, and maybe perhaps we should touch on it, is bringing in the society in general. You are a gentleman who's believing in women. But imagine we had more innocence believing in women to do things, because they say, before you go ahead and look for innocent, how about we look for Rita and for Kate? Because there's also that part. So how do we bring the entire society on board to believe in women, to push women forward? Say if I have a daughter, I could actually encourage her in this time. Maybe this is a place you could look into.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you for asking that, Rita. Maybe it's very important we actually look at it in a way of making sure that we begin thinking of mentoring our daughters, our girls. Maybe some of the women might not become coders. It's not an easy haven to be in. But I mean, we have a role we can play. I'll tell you, for example, when you go to Hollywood, you realize that majority of the best movie editors are either children or women, for example. That is slightly way different from the financial technology. So when you come to fintech, we're thinking, what role are we able to play as men? One, if you're a father of daughters, and you think they like innovation, they like things that make a difference, try to take them into a space that gets them to innovate and think out of the box. 2, for all the men like me, it is time for us to actually understand that women play a very, very big role the moment they are knowledgeable about things. Stop thinking that when a woman is knowledgeable, they are going to step on your head and do what because you're married to them and all that. I mean, those things have gone past our ages. We should think of empowering women. They are able to contribute much more than we can ever imagine to the growth of our economies, starting from the families. And then they're able to be more creative, because I'll tell you for the fact, for the 15 years, for example, I've been in innovation. When a woman is doing something, they pay so much attention. They concentrate and give it their heart, which might not happen with a man. I might do something for money. A woman will do something because they think it is becoming more beautiful every single day. And that is why we are saying we should go Women in Fintech. That's why we think we should pay much attention. And we're really very thankful to our partners. Our partners like Motorspokes, Cross Lakes Technologies, Modular Foundation, and Level 1 Project. Because they're all believing in the same things. They're like, no, this is beautiful for women. maybe to make a difference one day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of women, still the year 2020 was
Yeah.
declared a new decade for women's financial and economic inclusion,
Yeah.
and the United Nations working with the African Union in highlighting the economic contribution of women in many sectors.
Yeah.
But now this was the plan for the decade,
Yeah.
but we are in a decade that is totally different. COVID-19 came around and changed a number of things, and we're living in a new normal.
Yeah.
Do you think in any way it's going to affect, this new normal is going to affect women? Will it push them upper in terms of fintech? Will it bring them lower?
Now, relating with the UN and the Sustainable Development Goals, I mean, there's no better opportunity for women than this time. If there is anyone, based on the statistics, some of which I've watched on NTV, if there is anyone who has been most affected by COVID, it's women, globally. And I mean, whenever we have those kind of challenges, in my point of view, is that we actually have a chance to become better people. And because the challenges have been there, now every important thought is being directed to making sure women are part of every single discussion. And I will tell you from our own perspective, because maybe I may not be able to speak for everyone, but for all the discussions we had with all the fintechs that we had in 40 Days for the Fintechs, all the leaders, majority of whom were men, are saying, no, this year we are prioritizing having women interns, women apprentices, and all that kind of stuff. They think they should give women an opportunity to be a part of innovating. And I think it's going to be a start of women realizing that they actually can do things better, not by only winning or creating one case that makes a difference, but by rather being part of the process that makes things better every single day. And the decade will, in the end, be a women's decade, I'm very sure.
You're sure about that?
Yeah,
Let's talk about the money aspect of it. I don't think fintech comes cheap. It doesn't come cheap.
It doesn't.
And a number of women in Uganda are very entrepreneurial, very, very entrepreneurial. But when it comes to how much I might be watching and I'm like, I think I should join fintech, that seems like a place I as a person could be a part of. But the amount of money that I'm going to have to invest in this.
Well, I'll say, for example, fintech does not come cheap, neither does it pay cheap. Yeah. And there's nothing, so how do you get to some levels of your life without actually investing? But I always tell people, investment that is expensive is not always cash, because that's where we get it wrong. Yes, it doesn't come cheap, but maybe the expense of it is having to make sure that you spend a lot of time understanding ecosystems or solutions that are available, trying to do some kind of surveys and studies, self-assessment, and maybe that is the expense. I'll tell you for myself, part of the major investment that I had to put into understanding technology has always been time, because since 2005 I was in senior 4 then, and I used to learn from my brother every single time I go back home. I was a head prefect at school, so I could get a chance of going back home almost every weekend. So whenever I was learning, after 3 months I could find new things for the same stuff we've been doing. And that is technology. Anywhere in the world, it evolves every single second, because people are innovating every single time. But what I'm thinking about right now, we have come to a point of what we call interoperability. And we are thinking that, wait a minute, we shouldn't be creating many silos anymore. We are creating solutions like open source solutions, like Mojeloop. They come with free resources. You learn and you almost get a master's free of charge. It's on the internet. You don't need to pay your data.
I was just about to tell you, what are you talking about? For that woman who is trying to follow the conversation and saying, what did you just mention?
Exactly. So maybe to simplify the conversation for all of us, maybe we should start from somewhere. There is a woman that has been operating a mobile money business for the last 3 years, and they have a degree. And then they're not thinking of how better they can have their business become something better for them. I met one lady called Damali. I think she's called Nakandi something. And she operates a mobile money business. So I met her last year. And I did self-realization of who her customers are. She works in Naguru. So whenever I could go there, I could find men who drive cars. They were like me, most of them had more money than I can ever have in this day-to-day. But she never realized the kind of customers she had. So one time I asked her, but do you ever pay attention to your customers? And she's like, yeah. And I told her, who are your customers? So in the end of the dialogue, we ended up concluding that actually most of our customers are men, and they always withdraw a minimum of 50,000 shillings. So I told her, look here, can't you do some value addition to your business? Get bracelets, watch, stuff like that. Sell them here. Those women have wives or girlfriends. So when they come here and tell them, can you go and buy something? I mean, she's leveraging a fintech-enabled business and getting more things. So she was earning something less than $100. Now she earns about $200 every single month because she has been able to use financial technology to extend her business. And in the end, she now can be able to communicate to people on WhatsApp and tell them, look here, you can pay, use the mobile money, you can do ABCD, and have myself deliver this kind of thing for you. And I mean that is financial technology. Because everyone is not going to be a developer. Rita can be an advocate of financial technology, a very strong one. And she can be one who says, I'm going to make sure women adopt usage of financial services. And maybe you might have the biggest paycheck in your world. Why? Because you're making women understand their role in adapting with mobile financial services, with financial technology generally, and all kind of stuff. So I mean, if I did social sciences, for example, and I'm not passionate about numbers and code, I might not be going for programming and all that. But I can be a business owner of a financial technology enabled company. And importantly, as I said, interoperability, because in the sense of interoperability, we're talking about collaboration. And when you talk about collaboration, you're telling people, let's collaborate. Forget about things of doing things alone. Someone has a developer company, you have a clothes production company. How do you work together and be able to use technology to make better employment opportunities? I'll tell you, for example, see the scenarios that are happening and the kind of challenges border business is facing. In the entire COVID period, they're not allowed to carry people. And we are all not thinking that we can be able to support their businesses, but that instead of you driving a car to a market, and you spend fuel of 10,000, use the border business, use mobile money, use apps that are available and all that, and make sure you create some kind of ecosystem that benefits from each other. And in the end, the economy will benefit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, just as we wrap this up, let's just give us highlights of the opportunities that women have. You've mentioned that, well, you could be the business owner, you could be the one who is creating or developing, but what are these different, so that a woman knows, okay, maybe this is what I can do, this is what she can do if I bring her on board, and this is what we can all do together.
Now the opportunities start from personalized points of view. Because of financial technology, I'll tell you without even ever changing my statement that women are going to be able to get more loans going forward, because financial technology is making sure that happens. Those mobile lending products, bank or mobile network operated, are going to now become very available because there is need for money. Secondly, what we call KYC. Financial technology is going to help the unbanked women to actually be able to have something that shows them that actually are financially viable. They have credibility for having finance and run businesses. Why? Statistics are clear by central bank and many other researchers that very few people have traditional bank accounts. In Uganda, we have only 4 million bank accounts out of 40 million people. And that means that if you don't have a mobile financial service-driven account or wallet, then there's no way you can be able to know how you operate your money. So the other second opportunity is making sure have your money on a digital centric point of view, a wallet or an account, and make sure you transact more there. Why? Because the banks are going to be looking for you from that point of view. And they will only know someone, Rita spends 20 million every month, so she's worth getting this kind of loan because she'll be able to pay, because that is now your new account. And then the other opportunity is that, no, look here, fintech is business for everyone. If you're having a shop that sells clothes and shoes, it is time for you now to make sure you either have a merchant account or you have a direct integration of payments, maybe on Facebook, maybe maybe on WhatsApp and all that, WhatsApp business, and make sure people can be able to see products there and pay directly because they'll trust your business, they'll have confidence in transacting with you, and you'll have to make money without having to rent anywhere. That's was another opportunity. The other opportunity is for the women, the developers, the programmers, the architects in technology and all that. You have an opportunity to showcase your capabilities. For example, the Women in Fintech Hackathon is there for you to show people I am the champion, I'm the queen of production of digital financial services. And then the other opportunity is for the business owners, the women. You can invest in girls that are in Makerere, that are in UCU or any other university, and create teams and they develop. Yes, the first product might not make sense, but be sure something will work out. And then lastly, it's for the women-led businesses. Yes, if you're a woman leader in a financial company, in an NGO, in government, and all that, if you are a reader that can be an advocate because you have a voice, you have understanding of communication, you have a chance to speak about a very important sector that is going to make, one, a very big difference to yourself, two, to your community of women, and three, to the world. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Innocent Kawea, for joining us on Morning at NTV. Is from the Digital Impact Awards, and now there you have it. If you have a sister, if you have a friend, if you have an aunt, or even just simply someone you know, female, you can tell them about how there's an opportunity for women in financial technology as the world continues to move digital, going cashless with all that we're faced with as a country and the entire world when it comes to fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. There is an opportunity right there. We're now going to be taking a short break, but Morning at NTV continues shortly.